Good evening and welcome to Liberty Pharmaceuticals. This is our annual meeting for 2014. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss a very important product by the name of Quantum that we believe will revolutionize the field of medicine. At the present time, I would like to introduce our executive board, including myself. My name is Terry Edwards. I am the chairman of the board. The executive team will introduce themselves and stating their presence by stating their title. So as I call your name, would you please do so? Dr. Bruce Kovacs,
President and CEO.
Dr. Dean Pettis,
Vice President of Commercial Operations.
we have Dr. Carla Knox,
Vice President of Human Resources.
and Dr. Frank Mencia,
Chief Financial Officer.
and Dr. Ruben Furman.
Vice President of Research and Development.
So at this moment in the meeting, I propose that we move forward with the meeting agenda. All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, we'll move forward with Dr. Bruce Kovacs, who is our President and Chief Executive Officer and founder. Bruce?
Thank you, Terry. Today we're very excited at FEMIC to be introducing a new product called Quantum, which is the first ever cure for PTSD. We feel it's going to revolutionize the market, and for the initial phase, we're going to be targeting adults ages 30 to 50 who are still suffering from PTSD as the after effects of the March 2011 tsunami in Japan. At FEMIC, our mission is to serve the world one pill at a time. We feel that our vision is very global, and our primary purpose is to serve those suffering from PTSD. We want to focus on one patient at a time in the country of Japan, mainly those who are still suffering from this devastating tsunami. The product named Quantum is actually the first ever cure for PTSD. It works on by treating the biological and the neurological catalysts that cause PTSD. Mainly, it regulates the pituitary adrenal production, and it also desensitizes the cortisol receptors in the brain, stabilizing the cortisol levels. This is a very short-term treatment, but would also be followed up with treatments as necessary. The main difference between Quantum is that it is a treatment and a cure for PTSD as opposed to just treating the symptoms like most other drugs do. The science is well researched. Our product is FDA approved. We feel that the treatment is proven to be effective and it's affordable. And Quantum has been able to show many effects of not just treating PTSD, but also other symptoms of mental illness. The strength of this drug is basically it's the first to market cure for PTSD. There's no other drug like it in the market today. It is safe. It is an easy to take pill. It's affordable. We're aiming it to be at $2 per pill. The opportunities for this drug are immense. We feel that the drug, there's no other drugs that can match it. Other drugs can only treat the symptoms. Quantum is the first and only drug that cures PTSD. And we feel that there's millions of people around the world that suffer from PTSD, so there's a huge market for it. There are, of course, weaknesses for this drug. We at FEMIC, we know that we're a small, newly emerging company. Quantum is our first drug, and we have a lot of competition with other well-known companies that are out there. So brand recognition and product loyalty is going to be a huge thing for us to overcome. We also have a lot of threats in the market. We have to compete with the pharmaceutical giants that are out there. Initial entry into the market, especially Japan, which is a traditional and mostly closed society, is going to be an issue for us that we have to overcome. We feel that these are all critical issues. Again, I'd like to emphasize that the FEMIC pharmaceutical company is unknown worldwide, especially in Japan. And again, it's our first drug, so we have to understand that our name is not out there. People are going to be skeptical of trying out this new drug. entry to the market again is going to be very challenging for us, especially in the country where mental illness is not really that understood, like the country of Japan. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Bruce. Despite efforts to reform the system, Japan is considered a highly homogeneous society that still hospitalizes most of the mentally ill patients. People with mental illnesses generally attempt to hide their problems rather than seek help. Today, experts estimate that 4 in 10 inpatients are well enough to function on the outside if assisted living facilities were available. But because they are not, stable patients linger in psychiatric wards. To promote awareness, BIMIC Pharmaceuticals recognizes the implications of healthcare for a society which has been in isolation for many years. The Global Data Reports is an essential source of information and analysis of the global PTSD market. This report estimates that the global post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, was at 2.2 billion in 2010 and expected to reach 2.9 billion by 2017. Here are some facts. About 7 to 8% of the population will have PTSD at some point in their lives. About 5.2 million of those have PTSD during a given year. This is only a small portion of those who have gone through trauma. The simplest way to think about PTSD is to think of it as an interruption grief process. After every war, traumatic events, and accidents, organizations must re-evaluate and fine-tune their emergency preparedness and response in their healthcare sector. A study last year by the Ministry of Health, Welfare, and Labor found that 24% of Japanese people have suffered from some kind of mental health problem. Despite these numbers, mental health treatment in Japan after the 2011 tsunami affected millions of people. PTSD is much more common in certain groups of people. For example, some studies have found that PTSD developed in male and females aged 30 to 50 who have suffered a long-threatening event. Listed on this slide are target factors of patients who have been exposed to a traumatic event. These factors include quick treatment, easy to take regimen of drug, affordable treatment, private capacity, and HIPAA regulation. And now I would like to turn it over to Willie.
Thank you, Ben. Now we'll talk about our direct, our indirect competition, and along with our marketing and positioning strategy. When we look at our worldwide competition, we have primary and secondary competitors. We have Effexor, Cymbalta, Lexapro, which are our primary competitors, and they focus mainly on depression and anxiety. For secondary, we have Paxil, Wellbutrin, Zola, and Remeron, who focus on OCD, social anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Unlike our drug, Quantum, whose main focus is only on PTSD. So because we have this approved now in the market, so we'll be able to be the only company having this drug market out there. Our indirect competition, we have both herbal and homeopathic remedies. For example, we have people who use folic acid, STAMI to treat depression, valerian, omega-3 fatty acids, St. John's wort. And most of these, they do treat depression. Secondary competition, we have copycat drug companies, and we also have companies who have patent or copyright infringements. And with these type of secondary competition, they pose a threat or a safety issue to the customers or our patients. Our direct competition in Japan right now is Wyatt Pharmaceutical, and Wyatt is the maker of Effexor. They occupy about 36% of the antidepressant drug market currently. In 2010, Wyeth Pharmaceutical, they acquired the remaining shares of Takeda Pharmaceutical, and their annual makeup is about $4 billion in revenue. Our marketing objective is to market Quantium as a cure for PTSD, and this mode of administration will be orally. Our positioning strategy will include healthcare facilities. We'll offer this drug at a 50% discount for the first 3 months. We'll also use the data we obtained from our sample market to test the effectiveness of this drug. We want to ensure that FEMIC is associated with the Quantum name and the brand, and want to build the brand by promoting the cure for PTSD. And now I'll go ahead and pass it to Frank, who will talk about our financial objectives.
All right, thank you, Whitney. Our financial objective, since we are advocating a new medication in the market, we anticipate people being a little hesitant at first and giving this cure a try. We suspect there will be a real income during the first couple of quarters. We project having profit margins, however, that will be improved between 2 and 5% during the third and fourth quarters, which is when we expect to begin paying off our lenders. Our footprint in Japan will be much better established by the beginning of the second year. All of the data we obtained from the patient database up to this point will be used to identify any trends. Clearly, we are advocating a cure for PTSD. However, with Quantum, we will also be able to treat an individual's symptoms associated with this disorder. As our presence is cemented in Japan, we will certainly begin to expand into other neighboring Asian countries as well. It will not be long before we can extend our reach globally, and this cure will certainly be a worldwide catalyst in modern-day medicine. Between years 3 and 5, we plan on having a significant surge in the demand for this cure. And during the 5th year, we anticipate seeing profit margins between 15 and 25% annually. Our product strategy is that we want to make it very clear to the consumer that although Quantum is the first drug developed to be mass marketed, it is a medication that will cure this illness and not just treat the symptoms such as anxiety or depression. Some of the common drug names for the treatment of PTSD are Zoloft, Prozac, and Praxil. There are reviews from patients stating that they have had no effects since taking some of these medications, and the side effects can extend from hallucinations, mood swings, insomnia, and loss of sex drive. Quantum will be analyzed and verified during the first 6 months through the services provided by a third-party, independent third party. Our pricing strategy for this product, on average, our competitors are charging between $3 and $4 per pill, whereas we will be pricing Quantum at $2 per pill, as previously mentioned from Bruce. Although we feel this price point is reasonable, we will have a prescription program available for those not able to afford this treatment. Our break-even analysis is as follows. During the course of our research, we have invested $1.2 million with an initial development expense of $350,000. This has allowed us to produce 100 million pills, which constitute $5 million. This translates to approximately 5 cents per pill. Our initial marketing campaign expense was $3.5 million, and the total break-even point is approximately $11 million, which again translates to about 11 cents per pill. Our expense forecast is as such that during the initial expense, we forecasted about $11 million, which covers our costs up until the end of the 3rd year. On a global scale, the worldwide expansion cost for the 4th year and onward, we anticipate the manufacture of 1 billion pills targeting 300 million PTSD patients. Our 4th year expenses equate to about $110 million. The evaluation of our production expenses will be closely monitored for trends and patterns with the population up to this point. Our projected goal is to achieve between $3 and $4 billion of annual net income. Our distribution strategy is divided between direct and indirect distribution. For example, Our direct distribution would consist of local healthcare providers, hospitals, clinics, mental health care facilities, and some licensed mental health therapists. On the indirect distribution side, we will be using our VEM website with prescription and any other government health entities as well. Our integrated marketing communication strategy will be of various media outlets and consists of outlets such as TV, radio, print media, online social media, testimonials, and free samples at various medical conventions. I will now pass it along to Carla, who will be going over the branding strategy.
Thank you, Frank. Now, here at Feminine Pharmaceuticals, what we want to do is promote quantum. We want to promote quantum, one pill at a time. We're going to do this by implementing it first in Japan. And while we're in Japan, what we're going to do is we're going to have town hall events. We're going to use print media, as Frank suggested. And we're going to have discussions because in Japan, the mental health is traditional, they're closed. So they're not open up to talking about how they feel because it's not, I believe they don't feel it's the right thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have double blind studies, and we're going to pay people to participate because, again, we're trying to get them out there, and we want to have them think about quantum, correct? All right. So we're going to have websites, we're going to have mental health clinics, where we're going to actually have providers on ground who's going to help. You just can't take the pill without giving therapy. So we're going to have bilingual therapists. We're also going to have drug reps who are also going to be bilingual and trained into what our medication. We're not treating the symptoms as the other drug companies. We're providing a cure. In addition, the initial phase will start in December with initially 10,000 patients. Then we're going to go to the discovery phase where we're going to work closely with Willie and your team. We're going to make sure that we review the studies consistently. Every 6 months, we're going to review your research is the word I'm looking for. Yes. Okay? And then after that, we want worldwide implementation in 1 to 3 years. We're constantly doing research on it. We got to make sure we control our merchandise because we don't want everybody doing it. Okay, so we're going to use the bar scan codes, that radio frequency.
Radio frequency IDs.
Yeah, we're going to do that, and then we're going to have comprehensive study samples. Then we just got to make sure again, as we want results, we want to make sure that we're monitoring our patients, and we're working with you as far as the research. Yes. And the money, that's important. We're going to use social media, we're going to use print media, we'll use everything we can so we can tell people quantum, one pill at a time. Okay? Okay. I think that's all I have. Oh yeah, we're going to use that marketing firm in Japan. What's their name? What's their called?
Hakunudo.
There you go. Thank you, Bruce. I'm passing to Terry.
Thank you, Ms. Carl. That was a great presentation on branding. At this point, I would like to thank the executive team who has done a lot of research, as you can see, on many factors from competition to our financial objectives presented by Dr. Frank, to our mass marketing research by Dr. Furman, our expense forecast, branding presented by Ms. Carla, distribution and implementation. At this point, I think we should redirect our focus for the last closing moments here and talk a little bit about financial analysis and sales forecasts. Tying into our branding, dealing with financial analysis and sales forecasts, the initial objective with our target population and our break-even point. During the discovery phase, we have a projection of a net yield of $11 million, which was presented earlier by our CFO, Mr. Frank. Take a moment to look at the worldwide expansion. We're on goal, or we're on task to become the largest pharmaceutical company for mental illness by year 7. That's our goal. And also by the year 7, we are projected that our annual net income is to be between $4 and $5 million by year 7. Now, as with any great company, there's always a contingency plan because you have to think about what would happen in any event that Japan doesn't respond in any favorable way to what we're presenting. So there are some things that we should think about. Just in case, if Japan does not respond as expected, we have put in place that we're going to move our timeline to 5 years instead of 3 years, to give us a little bit more time to bring our product quantum in Japan. We're also going to reduce the price of the drug to $1.25 per pill from the initial $2 offering. We're going to reduce our inventory, and then we're going to also take steps to reduce our market inflation. Give us a little more time. But we have to wait to see how Japan responds. So with that, as you can see, as chairman of the board, I'm very excited about Finley Pharmaceuticals. I think that we're on track to become the leader in the pharmaceutical industry as it's related to mental health. So in closing, I'm going to adapt these minutes as accepted into our 2014 annual report for our annual meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? At this point, for our final remarks, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Bruce. Dr. Bruce Portabash, who is our President and Chief Executive Officer of Congress. Bruce.
Thank you. Great job, everyone. Thanks for all the hard work that you've been doing this past few years on developing this drug and our marketing strategy and our sales forecast and everything. Everybody's done a great job. I want to reemphasize again that this is our future. As a company, we have not been on the map until now, but this is going to change the game for us. In the next 5 to 7 years, our goal is to be the largest pharmaceutical company for mental illness in the world. And that's our goal, and I think with this great team we can achieve it. So just remember, we're serving the world one pill at a time.